So, Professor Ademar, it's a pleasure to be here with you. So, Professor Ademar is a pragmatic software engineer, early adopter of Agile, trainer on Agile methods, software design, and Agile project management in academia and industry. He's associate professor at the University of Porto. He's the founder of Agile Portugal conferences and co-author of the book A Scrum Book, The Spirit of the Game. He is also the creator of Coding for Social Impact Labs at the University of Porto. Professor Ademar, it's a pleasure to be here with you. So the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you a lot for, wow, it was a long introduction. Yeah, I wonder how many things I did, but actually it is part of my passion to do all those things that you mentioned. So thank you for the invitation to be here, and I really enjoyed the talk and all the session. I've been here since the beginning, and very inspiring questions and ideas. So I hope that my presentation can add a little value to all of this also. Okay, so following the request from Tiago and Susana and the organizers, I'll try to bring here a little about my work in terms of entrepreneurship. One of the work I did more is about Agile. What is this? Basically, it is mostly it starts with the software, but actually today is more than that. So the title I just gave the title now, okay? It's about the mindset of being Agile, because I think it is the most important for this context. And why is this important? Because usually we have ideas, good ideas, but to make them in a product, something concrete like a service or a product or something more, even more abstract, under the real world condition is hard. But when we have uncertainty in that world, is even harder to start. And I really like the answer right now about just start and go, be courageous and go. But when we don't know what we don't know, it's even harder. Okay, so this is the title of my presentation. Please interrupt me when you want. And let's start with a little about me. Okay, so I'm from Porto. I'm from University of Porto, where I teach software engineering, basically. Not only, but mostly. Since very young, I like puzzles, so problems and find solutions to those problems. As many others, probably you all here, we start with Legos, with building small things that are easy. But I start wondering about complex systems, in this case, a drawing. Turning the story short, the complex system is always simple at the end. If you zoom, if you see the basic elements, the basic elements are very simple, but the aggregation, the composition of those elements can be can look complex like this one, but actually it is not. The same applies to music and also sports. I did sports. I really like fencing a lot, and because of all of this, I end up in faculty of engineering. The glitch you see in the movie, it is because it's a movie, okay? It's not a glitch in Zoom call. And I end up in software. So why? Because all of this puzzling, all the problems and solutions we need to build, we use materials. And the material of software is very, very plastic. So the plasticity is almost non-present. So we can do with software whatever you want to do. This is good because the sky is the limit, but it's also hard because you end up being able to do all kinds of things that probably doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, so one of the things that I always enjoy a lot is the process of designing. So you have an idea. In order to create something, an artifact, an object, you need to follow an intellectual process. That process is usually called, in abstract way, design. So, but what is the design of design? you got, so what is the process that goes in our mind about this? I end up joining the communities of design of software, for example, where I came and where I met a lot of inspiring people about how to design software and design complex systems as well. And at the end, I end up enjoying a lot of the agile processes that led to many things that we use today. And Scrum, for example. How many of you know Scrum here? Have you heard about Scrum? Of course. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. So today we'll have 5 minutes of it. Okay. The first thing I want to tell you is that for me, software is a digital media. Do you agree with that? So it's something that we use to communicate knowledge. We communicate and share knowledge through software and experience. You may be a very important scientist with a lot of theories. In order today to make that knowledge be shared and spread to a lot of people, is not writing a paper only or writing a book or doing a movie. Is about having an app or a system that actually everybody will want to use and can use very simple. So today is even more important than many years ago, but I see software as a digital media. In order to share your knowledge through the software, you need to formalize information and you need to collaborate. So at the end, for me, software development is about knowledge evolution. So you start communicating, then you formalize in a language that only computers can understand. Actually, we can understand, but computers only understand that language by now because things evolve. And then we collaborate a lot. The more often we do this, the more faster we do this, the faster we can build solutions that actually are the right solutions for our problems. In software, we started many years ago, but actually not so many years ago. So the first processes of solving, building software solutions, they are back from 60s. So it was not very long time ago. But soon we found out that a process on your left, like a waterfall, is not the right way, because actually things evolve a lot and we cannot close ourselves in our office and think everything very well and then only then start building, because we'll fail. There will be problems, situations that will appear in the journey that will make us go back to the beginning. So we prefer to use things like, I'm not sure if you are seeing it, probably you are not. We prefer processes like the spiral one, okay? So the one on the left. We start with a small thing and we start evolving, and evolving. So this ends up in software world, inspired by the Toyota production system, for example. So the way Toyota started building their cars a long time ago, we brought those ideas from industry to software, and after some time in 2000, it became well known as the Agile. What is here that is very important? Agile is a way of welcoming changing requirements. We recognize that everything will change sooner or later, and today is much sooner than later. You should believe me. So we should have a way of adapting to the situation as fast as possible and still succeeding and still committing to the costs of the projects and the deadlines we have. I end up being able to join a group of people to learn more about this, learn from each other. Actually, we are a group of 20 authors in this book. It's not only about Scrum, but it's about the whys of Scrum. So if you know Scrum is very simple, but actually there are a lot of details behind a good implementation of Scrum. So basically we joined 20 authors and decided to describe best practices of Scrum based on cases that actually succeeded. And the two first authors are, one of them is creator of Scrum and the other one is a very important person in the community of best practices of software. Okay, so this is one of my last thing. This was last year. It was released last year. So in all of this, we have in mind the value creation. So we recognize that after having an idea, brainstorming, we should, at the end, have something that actually can help us to spread that idea, to add value. Commercialization is usually suggests money, but actually may suggest only delivering value. You asked me to tell you a little about the lean startups. So in this approach, the lean startup is about using an agile approach to actually start your startup and try to succeed with it. I'm saying try because following the lean startup is not granted that you succeed. Okay, the chance to succeed is still very low, but at least you know what you are doing, and at least you know that you are failing, and that is important to adjust the trajectory or journey. So what we have in a normal venture, we have a problem that we know, and so we think, because we are smart, that we can design the best solution for that problem. So traditionally we have, this is ideal, okay? We have a problem known and the solution that we design that we know. This looks easy, but even in this case, it's not so easy as it looks. But what about if we don't know the solution? So we know the problem, or we think we know the problem, but we don't know the solution. That's where Agile is very helpful, because we can, if we know the problem and we know we have a vision for the possible solution for that problem, we can start exploring the solution, designing and building the solution and testing the solution with ourselves and with the customers and learning from that process. So in an iterative way, we end up building possibly the best solution or an optimal solution for that problem. Okay, so instead of closing our eyes and jumping to solution until the end, we build solution piece by piece in a piecemeal growth process, and always sensing the feedback from everybody around us, especially the customers, the users, the beneficiaries of the solution, and we end up having something that is probably the right thing to that problem. Are you following me? Yeah? Okay. So lean startup, what is different? The difference is that we assume that we don't know the problem as well. Big problem. When we don't know the problem, how can we find a solution for a problem that we don't know? So, but we have ideas, right? That's why we build a startup. We have an idea that an iPhone would be an awesome thing, because it will combine making calls, listening to music, and having productivity tools. Everything, all these three pieces were existing before the iPhone, but no one was visionary enough to join the three pieces in one single object until that moment, of course. Today, we all have many pieces. So when we don't know exactly the problem, so when the problem is unknown and the solution, of course, is unknown, we should use the same iterative process to find the problem, okay? So we call this phase the discovery phase. So we think we know the problem. Do you really know the problem? Just ask yourself once, twice, 3 times, the many times as you want, okay? But try to assess if the problem is a real problem, or if it is something that you'd like to build a solution for that problem. So sometimes you call these problems solution-ish. It means that the problem doesn't exist. We just want to build a solution, and we want to find a problem that that solution solves. It's not a bad idea, but is even more risky than before. Okay, so summing up in 5 minutes, the Lean Startup, the book is about is about adding strategies so that we can find the problem and assessing the problem, defining the problem, and from there building solution using agile development. So in 2 words, finding the problem with customer development. Sometimes the customer doesn't exist. Before the iPhone, there were no iPhone users, so nobody was able to think that I need an iPhone or a kind of that. So there was no problem at all for any person in mind. So this is a situation where we needed to develop the need in the people, but shortly it is what we call customer development. Okay, and the important here is that it is an iterative process. You have an idea, you test the idea, you build clients, and you assess those clients. And if actually the problem is a problem and the solution you have you can solve that problem, you may go and evolve the problem, evolve solution, and so on and so on. Okay, so the problem unknown and solution unknown. So this is a little about the Lean startup. Of course, this is there are many things around this, many things. In software is one thing, in other areas can be applied as well, but the tools we use are completely different. So things you are seeing here are tools we use for software to build, to measure, to learn, and so on. Along this cycle, there is only one thing that is completely certain: we learn. We learn about the real need. We learn how good or bad are our ideas, or how fit they are with the needs of the people, and so on and so on. So if there is one thing that is we are completely certain about doing this loop, is that we always learn. Okay, and it is good to learn, but only learning is not enough. We sometimes we need to build something, right? So that's the challenge. Because all of this, so this was a little about agile and how to live with uncertainties, to go from ideas to things that work, to products. And because I like to try things myself, I co-found a few startups. All of them failed, so I'm not a rich person. Okay, so yeah, but I fail a lot. But I liked a lot also the startups I built and the things we end up building. At the end, we didn't succeed because we were ahead of time or the customers were not there yet. Well, many reasons, but there are excuses to not being completely fit in the right time. So on the project is was called Creative Schools, and I selected this one because Antonio Coelho was also part of it, and the faculty of fine arts and all those entities that you have here. And basically, it is related with this topic as well. So it was to enable very young kids from 7 to 12 years old and more, but our target was that to build their own digital media. Okay, so they were able to build their videos, the music, compose music, and so on and so on and so on, using very simple tools. This was back in 2010, 2012. Okay, so some time ago, but it was very innovative, too much innovative, and we have a lot of fun with what we learned. But schools didn't buy that, so we need to close the company. I also found, because of education, that I like projects where technology can help some cause. In that case, was a digital divide. So the society has a lot of tech, but schools and teachers were not using the right tech at that moment. So I was happy to know and to host in the University of Porto this international school on digital transformation, where I think I met Tiago for the first time there, and others. And it was very inspiring. It was really inspiring. This was, I think, 2010. And the kind of people that we met there actually changed the way I saw things. Like Tiago was telling you in the beginning of this session. So I completely buy his words about how important it is to mingle with other people. So because of my passion for this way of being agile, the agile mindset, and passion about the social impact, I decided to create something that towards agile social ventures. So ventures, projects that has social impact. And we created in the Faculty of Engineering something that we call Coding for Social Impact, where we try to empower social innovators with minimal tech. So sometimes if the social innovator is a techie person, he sees opportunity to solve all the problems of the world with the technology. And sometimes we don't need so much technology. So our goal here as engineers is to tell those people or help those people design the minimal tech that actually we think it solves their problem. And with that, with this mindset, we are able to reduce the time to have the solution and also to reduce the costs spent, the resources spent to build that solution. Okay. Basically, it's a space. It was a physical space. Now it is not more because we don't have that space anymore. At least the same space, same square meters. But the goal is to mingle social entrepreneurs, changers, igniters, technologists, engineers, you name it, so that we can all together make minimal tech that has concrete social impact. Some of the projects I was involved going to health related with social impact was this one, Bovercado. Bovercado is not a project anymore. Now it was a spin-off from a big non-profit in the world. It is the top 5 profits in the world. It's called PSI. It was top 5 one with a lot of donors and people, philanthropy behind it. Also with the federal money in the United States. And they had many projects around the world in Africa. And I was invited with a team from Faculty of Engineering to help build the technology for this project. Let me tell you only a little about why I said immediately, yes, I want to be part of that project. At that time, 2012, 2013, social ed, it is an industry like any other industry, moving a lot of money. At that time, $100 billion a year. But the problem is that this industry is not very effective. So those 100 billion, let's go there. Those 100 billion actually need some organizations to help that humanitarian aid to reach the beneficiaries. In the case of this project, it was for social, for health aid. Okay, so only 15% of this money actually is reached the beneficiary. So there's a lot of money that is lost during all the chain, not because people steal money. Okay, it's easy to think about that, but because it's really hard to have the value stream from the donors to the beneficiaries, because it's hard to distribute that good, that impact. So in this case, the innovator is not me. Okay, these are not my ideas, but the social entrepreneur that hired us tried to disrupt that industry, like Amazon disrupted books, like Booking and Airbnb disrupted hotels, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, like Uber is disrupting taxis. The world is becoming disrupted, and but this area was not disrupted yet. So he decided to apply the same ideas. So digital transformation. We can. This is usually the scenario before. So there are shops in the countries. In this case, it was Mozambique, our pilot. There's a plane landing with products. They gave the products for free, and at the end, although those products were good, those products lose all the value. Why? Because if those products are in the shops and but suddenly they are offered for the good, in this case health, for example, um, pills for the mothers not to be mothers at 14 years old, for example. Um, so if the products are offered, suddenly the pharmacies don't make money with them, and when the NGO goes away, the market is completely disrupted. So it's completely broken. Nobody wants to sell pills anymore. Okay, so this was the case before. So the idea was to have a mechanism using mobile phones that were able to develop the local economy with shops, with clients, and so on. Actually, the products, everybody was making money by consuming the products or selling the products or distributing the products, but the products had value. Okay, so basically, this was this. So the idea was to have an ecosystem with the shop owners, donors, suppliers, NGO, all together, helping to distribute the health products, like, for example, to help the tribes far from the cities to know that they cannot drink the water that is still in the floor in fields. They should first detox purify the water with small products. And but because they didn't know about that, kids were drinking that water and dying with months, with years. Even teenagers, like with 12 years old, were dying because of dehydrating because of problems of water. Okay, so simple things that cost like 50 cents and last 3 months. Okay, so this was one of the project. The technology was built with a team I built in the University of Porto, and now is a company that is still based in Porto, the technical part. And this was a shop. This is a shop where people can go and buy. So many things. Okay, you like the project? It was a very cool project. I really enjoyed the project. And today it is called Trigger Eyes. And the person, the founder of the idea, actually moved from Trigger Eyes and now has even more challenging ideas, also disrupting other kinds of things. The other project related with health that I'd like to bring to you is this receptor. So it's not, it's a European project, but I think it's very important because the ideas of starting with an idea and moving from that idea to something very concrete may take a long while. So this project, it's a 5 years project, but the ideas are well before this project started. Why I'm telling you this project? Because it's so complex and important. And if this project was concluded 2-3 years ago, probably we had this COVID-19 solved very much earlier and much easier than we are solving it now. Although it's amazing how the vaccines and the research, the bioinformatics and so on are working together to find the right vaccine for the problem we are living right now. Okay, so it's about emogenetics. It's all about COVID and how to help our body to beat the problems we might have. And we never thought when we started this project 2 years ago that it will happen so fast. And we are now in the middle of the project and receiving information from researchers with COVID-19 so that they can accelerate the vaccine, the design of the vaccines they are working on. Okay. So the idea is to share data. Let's simplify. Although it's a European project, actually it has many partners from around the world. So actually we have all the best partners in this area. So it's Canada and States as well here. And the idea is to scan T cells, so antibodies we have in our immunological system, and to learn from those antibodies to understand why, if I'm exposed, me or one of us, when exposed to a certain disease like this virus, for example, corona, I became symptomatic or non-symptomatic, or I became infected or not infected. So what's the difference between me and all the others? And what they do, they collect tissues, they collect blood. There are amazing machines today, like scanners, that scan all the cells that are collected, and for each cell, they output what we call a letter soup with all the amino acids that compose the genetical code of all that information. And from all that information, it can be billions of information per person. We have computers that try to analyze that information and try to mine some patterns that may help find an insight, a clue to solve the problem. This can be applied for corona, and actually it was applied for corona as well, but it can be applied for cancers and so on and so on, and why different people react in a different way to different environmental threats. Okay, so it's a data sharing challenge, basically what we are doing, so that researchers working on this can work faster, let's say. So all of this, so I told you a little about the Agile mindset. I told you a little some projects I use Agile to related with health, basically. And but Agile in software is one thing, so it's completely certain. We have 25 years of this, but you are assisting Agile being spread and Scrum being spread in other areas of activity. Even Harvard Business School is suggesting that Agile is a mindset that we should have in mind to apply in some projects. So I want to point you, because I think it's very, very relevant to the mindset that I heard today about this framework. So this framework is about helping you to find the right thing and build it the right way. So in all this Agile mindset, there's agility on delivering the solution, but there should be also agility on discovering the problem, okay? So just think that you have this endless loop where you spend sometimes in the left loop discovering the problem, like in Lean Startup, okay? And then you think you have the problem defined, so you start building a little or a lot, so it depends on you. So it's up to you to decide if you keep here, or you find out that, okay, we should rethink the problem, and you come here, and then you build again and again and again. So the blue part is discovering the problem. The green part is about delivering solution to that problem. But is it the right problem? Is this the right way? So that crossing is in this orange part, where you have many options and you need to decide. Underlying all of these is the purpose of what you are doing. What is the purpose? So you should ask yourself, why are you doing that? And you answer, and then you ask again, but why again? And after 5 times, of course, we say, because we want to be happy, something like that. So maybe to ask 3 times is enough to find the ultimate purpose of what you are building and what is the problem that you are solving. And by having that and focusing very well on that, probably you are able to build the right thing the right way. The framework has many techniques to help you on this discovery and on the delivery. One technique of delivery is Agile. One technique of discovery is design thinking, but there are so many other techniques that probably is something that you'd like to know more. And thank you. Yeah, this is my slide to create some interest in some attractions of Porto. Okay, so
thank you
I
so
hope
much.
that you enjoyed, and I'm ready for questions if you have questions, of course.